I'm at a point where I'm kind of burnt out. I'm doing the bare minimum. And to me, that's disappointing and honestly disgusting. That's a great question. If I knew the answer to that question, I probably wouldn't be feeling this way. I know I have to do this. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the 8-Figure Agency Show, where a successful entrepreneur and a soon-to-be successful entrepreneur help you build an 8-figure agency by documenting our successes and failures. And today, it's going to be a good one because I'm joined back with Gary.
That was a good episode last week. Exciting. Hopefully it was helpful to people. Was it tactical enough for you? I know you're always, Gary, go more tactical. I was like, I can't on SOPs, so I'll bring somebody on who can.
She's awesome. She really is. She's great. And we spoke for a good 25 minutes on the most technical things with SOPs you possibly could be. And honestly, if you haven't listened to it or watched it yet, I highly recommend you do because we go so in depth, like how to build SOPs or even give a template. If you DM'd Gary about the fact that you want that template, he would have already gotten it by the time you're watching this video. So DM at the Gary Bird on Instagram for that template. It's literally the SOP template that SMC uses. You're going to want it. But everything from, how to build an SOP to the importance of an SOP, how to implement. Caitlin even was like, how you store the SOPs, what not to do, best practices, things to avoid. We got so specific. She's awesome. And it was a great episode.
Well, I know today we have some really good stuff that you want, actually bad stuff, I would say, some stuff that you're struggling with that I think every entrepreneur goes through. And you want to kind of talk through that and see if we can help nail down what's going on with you.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've done an 8-Figure Agency episode where we kind of just riff on my problems. We've been kind of focused a lot about just general topics. And, with that being said, things have been kind of building to a point where I'm at a point where I'm kind of burnt out, kind of, sort of, not really. I'm at a point where like work is starting to feel like work. Like before it was like just I love it. And now it's like, okay, darn, like I have to go review another video. It's like becoming that type of thing, right?
Yep.
Which that's like a red, like I don't want that. That's not why I'm doing this, right? That's number one. And that's kind of like a really big part of this, right? And number two is, vision. Like the vision is slightly changing and, how I communicate that properly to the team while I'm going through this kind of burnout. And there's so much happening at the same time, right? With like the holiday season, but that's never an excuse. That's never an excuse. And, the last main thing that I would love to get into today is the team. Because of that burnout and the vision situation, what's happening is I'm not leading the team as best I can be. I'm kind of half-assing it, right? Like truly, I'm coming into work and I'm not even living up to the core values. I'm doing the bare minimum, like things that I know is going to keep the clients at a point where everybody's happy, but not to the point where we're really like, oh my God, mirror media. And to me, that's disappointing and honestly disgusting. And so I'm getting really vulnerable today and accountable. And I would love to talk through that with you and see what I can do to improve.
Yeah. So this is something that everybody goes through and I've been through it, exactly everything you just said. And so let's talk through what is work, because you said something I think is really crucial. And I think this is really the secret to being successful as an entrepreneur for long periods of time that most people miss because it's so nuanced. And you said, I feel like I'm working now, where before it didn't feel like work. It felt like fun. And so what makes it work and what makes it fun? So let's talk through that.
That's a great question. If I knew the answer to that question, I probably wouldn't be feeling this way. Honestly, I have no idea.
I'm going to give you the answer that I have found for myself. It may be true for you and it may be true for other people, but maybe not. Okay, so for me, I would get stuck in these ruts where I didn't really enjoy what I was doing anymore. And I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't put my finger on it. And here's what it is for me. So there's a couple things. Number one, it's the light at the end of the tunnel. I have to have a light at the end of the tunnel that I'm working towards. I cannot do repetitive tasks that I know that I have to do forever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like Caitlin that you had on the call before, her department, literally their job is to do repetitive tasks over and over and over again forever. And they like it. They actually like it. They enjoy it. And there's people out there like that, right? If you're a video editor, you have to do a repetitive task over and over and over again forever. And you have to be good with that. Now, if you're an artist and you take pride in what you do, then that's probably not a problem. You're like, that's exciting. I would love to be paid for that. But if you are an entrepreneur and you're just video editing is just the vehicle that you're using to get to where you want to go, then it totally changes. So what I have had to learn how to do, I'll use sales the last time. So it took me 2 years to build our sales department. And I struck out a bunch of times. Hired somebody, struck out. Hired somebody else. They did good for a while, but then I found out that they weren't doing a great job because they were over-promising, and so we were under-delivering, and that caused all kinds of problems. Then I hired somebody else. They didn't work out. Then I hired a director of business development. They hired somebody else, and they're finally working, right? So it took 2 years to go through all of that, right? Well, through that process, I had to actually go back in and I had to build out a lot of our sales process because a lot of it was built around me and how to communicate and what to say, when to say it, all that stuff. That took a good quarter or longer. It took 3 months, maybe even longer. As I went through that, Derrik, here's what I kept telling myself because I didn't want to do it. I literally didn't. If I could have paid somebody else to do it, I would have, Derrik. Like, I did not want to do this anymore. So I had to say, Gary, you're going to go in and you're going to create this process one more time. We're going to have all the support to make sure it's documented. And then from there, it's just hiring until we get the right person in. And then once we get the right person in, we want to keep them. And then we're going to build that sales department. So I had to create that light at the end of the tunnel for myself, or else I didn't want to do it.
Let me ask you this, because, ironically enough, I've heard you say that before a few times in the mastermind groups and on actually past episodes. And at the time, I wasn't feeling it like this. But, recently, as I started to kind of feel this little burnout, like truly, like there's things like, I just don't want to do it. Like I sometimes wake up, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, is this even what I want? Like, it's like that bad. It sounds like you've been there many times. When you say light at the end of the tunnel, I asked myself, what is my light at the end of the tunnel? And I couldn't figure it out. How do you actually figure that out?
Okay, good. So, that's a good next question. So let's take your problem that you have. Let's look at it. So you're literally editing videos because somebody else didn't edit them properly. Is that right?
Well, no, not at all. I'm not editing videos. It's just every part of the business. I'm just at a point where
give me an example.
The biggest area in which I'm just like so out of it is like leading the team in terms of vision alignment, in terms of KPI tracking, in terms of systemizing and system building. That's like the biggest thing, KPI system building, and even things like team one-on-ones and running better team meetings, like that type of stuff.
Okay. So I can understand why, because those are all related. You can't run a better meeting if you don't have better data.
Exactly.
And you can't get better data unless you have better systems.
Yeah, exactly. And I have none of it.
Okay, and you have none of it. So here's what you need to do. There's two ways to tackle this. So I'll explain the way we're tackling it, but keep in mind I have a big team helping me, so it's like other people are taking this weight, not me. So what we did is we moved from Salesforce to HubSpot. And we said, okay, we're going to change our whole base infrastructure so we can get basic data, so we can have better decision making and run better meetings, right? So that's number one, is get a new platform to work on. But that has to all be implemented. That's hard to do. And the bigger you get, the harder it gets, okay? Just to give you an idea, like we're doing it's going to be like a 6-month rollout process. Like it's big, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And in multiple phases as well. Then the other option, Derrik, is to go through and say, okay, I am only going to optimize this department first. And I'm going to build a system, and I'm going to document it, and then I'm going to create the KPIs, and I'm literally going to do it, and then I'm done with that one. And then someone else, this person that I have here, is going to take that over and own it. But I know the system works because I did it. Does it make sense?
Mm.
So what happens as an entrepreneur sometimes is we don't have the answers because we haven't gone through it yet. Like we didn't do it. Now, early on, you did everything, right? But as you've grown, have you gotten a little bit away from the operational side of things?
Not necessarily operational, because there's nobody else going to run these team meetings, but like video editing and stuff like that, absolutely. Like I recently dove back into like clip sourcing, and like I refreshed my memory on that a lot, and worked up my muscles on it. But yeah, I don't know if there's one definitive answer there in terms of one department or one place. It's honestly been every aspect of it. Maybe
that's why though. But you can't fix every aspect of it. It's kind of like saying, let's pretend, Derrik, you're overweight, you're 300 pounds, your kidneys are failing, you have brain fog, you can't get up and exercise, and it's like me coming to you and saying, fix that all right now. It's not how it works. It's like, cool, I gotta do what I can do. What can I do? Well, you can start walking, and you can change the food that you're eating. We're not going to start bench pressing and doing deadlifts and sprints and stuff like that. We can't. And that's what you're trying to do. And that's why you're getting burnt out. There's no light at the end of the tunnel because you have this foundation, and there's holes in it. Everybody has holes in it, right? And then you're trying to build a tower on top of it, and it's seeping through the bottom.
Yeah, and the problem is the hole is me. That's the problem. right? So I mean, like, I'll get super vulnerable. Like, I feel like sometimes I know what I need to do, or sometimes I'm right there, and I don't even want to do it. Like, it's been like the last like 3 weeks where it's been like that. I've honestly never had that before in terms of this. It's a very new thing to me. So quite vulnerable on that side
Have you
of things.
unplugged for like a couple days?
Like fully?
Yeah, fully. Like leave your phone at home.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Yeah,
Nothing
you need
like
to do that. That's probably, I would just try to do that, unplug for like 2 days.
Let me ask you this, because I think the burnout thing and the light of the end of the tunnel is going to help a lot of people. So to make sure I understood you properly, because it's helping me, honestly. You're saying, after this recording, go and look at my business. What's the biggest pain point? Like, there has to be something. Maybe I didn't even realize it yet. We're like, hey, maybe it's anxiety about the upcoming year and the economy.
Yep.
Maybe it's something about like, hey, I'm not making, like, I got to maybe, whatever. I don't know. Something there that I might know, but I haven't even accepted it. I don't know. Whatever. Figure that out. Then look at it and say, okay, what do I have to do to solve this problem? And obviously, the first thing I would probably think of is like bench pressing or deadlifting, right? But as someone, to your analogy, who's overweight, I can't do that yet. Yeah. Reverse engineer it, look at the smaller thing, and start with the really small thing. Okay, for example, sales, right? Probably not it for me, but if it was sales, say, okay, what is my biggest problem? Okay, not enough leads. Okay, I'm going to go get leads. Document the process of how to get leads. Like, that would be my start. That's my equivalent of walking. Am I understanding
100%.
that correctly?
Yeah.
And then
100%.
the light at the end of the tunnel is like, hey, once I finish this, once I document this, I'll move on to that next thing. I don't have to be stuck here getting leads. Is that correct?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, you can move on to the next thing and fix the next thing. Now, how you will, for me, what I had to realize is that I don't want to be in operations. I don't. I hate being in operations, Derek. I'd quit too. If you put me in your shoes and said, you got to run all these meetings and you got to do all these KPIs, I hate that. Like, I don't want to do that.
Horrible.
So I guess what I did, Derek, I built a company with people who help me so I don't have to do that, because that's not my strength, Derek, and it's not your strength either. And so you have to continue to build towards work towards your strengths and get support around your weaknesses. Don't try to be amazing at where you're weak. Now, where it's hard for entrepreneurs early on, you can't just hire for every single thing that you're not good at, right? And say, well, this is a pain point for me, so I'm going to hire, because you can't do that. You have to build the company. So, and through that building and through that pain, you're going to learn enough to be really good at hiring the right people.
Yeah, and even to add to that, it's even like the little things. Like, it's like the holiday season right now. And one of my biggest stresses, believe it or not, is like, shoot, I don't have anything in place for like holiday time off or gifts for team members or gifts for clients, even something as simple as cards. To me, that's causing me to like go over the edge of just like, man, and I can't even understand it. It's like something like I'm giving gifts to people and I'm sitting there like, man, this is horrible. I can't even believe, like, I was disgusted with myself thinking through it. And it came to the point where I became lazy around it, where like I've been delaying it and delaying it and delaying it. Is that the same thing? Is it just burnout? Is it all just burnout?
It's overwhelming. You are focusing on things that you shouldn't be focusing on or worried about because you don't want to focus on something else in your business. More than likely, that's my guess. So you're worrying about that, because I would look at you and just say, Derek, just send them all a heartfelt loom. Like, send all your clients, be like, hey, I just wanted.
That's not a bad idea.
Just be like, hey, I just want you to know, like, I thought about all the awesome stuff that I could buy you, but I'm a small company and I just don't have the resources to do that. And I thought actually the thing that would be better is if I verbally shared with you how much you mean to me and why I really value our relationship. And you sent those off to your team and tell everybody, like, someday I hope I own a company where I can do these things, but this is what I can do right now. And I just want you to know that, like, that would make everybody so happy, bro. They would appreciate that so much. And you text it to everybody, so they get it on their cell phone, get it the day before Christmas. But again, and that would take you maybe like 30 minutes, right? So to crank those out, to do a bunch of like 5-minute videos, or 4-minute videos. So, but again, I think you are focusing and you're creating fires to put out that don't necessarily exist, because you're not dealing with the fire that actually does exist, which is you don't have, in certain areas of your business, you don't have it systematized yet.
I have none.
Yeah, you have none?
No, like, honestly, there's none. I'm the system.
Well, that's not true, because I've seen some of the stuff you're doing. I know it feels like that. It feels like that. And here's a post that I read on LinkedIn. Every business is a hot mess when you look inside of it. Every business. And it feels like it's just a straight dumpster fire inside of every business. You have to decide what you want to do and with who you want to do it, because it feels like a dumpster fire everywhere that you go. That's true. Everyone, every entrepreneur feels like you do. I don't have anything, but that's not true, because you're sitting here creating videos are being created while you're on a podcast right now.
Yeah, that is the thing. I spoke about this with actually Stella, who's here right now, and she's probably on screen. The editors probably put her up here, but does all my content, does all of Gary's content. And I was like, yeah, like I'm at a business event, but videos are still being made. Videos are still being posted, right? Like the only thing that's not happening is videos are not being reviewed and clients are not getting their videos sent, which honestly, that might be the biggest thing. Where like if I solved for client like reviews, then everything is working. Like I don't have to do anything.
So bro, but do you see the bipolar response here? So we just went from nothing, literally nothing is working. I have no systems. Don't even have a business. It's just
this is the problem.
Yeah. To if I just fix this one thing, everything is amazing and everything's working great.
Yeah, that's the problem, Gary. That's been my cycle for like 30 to 60 days recently. That's really been my cycle. I guess I just have to tackle it. I mean, I guess that's really all it is.
No, you got to tackle the right thing. You can't tackle all of it, but you can tackle that next thing. You totally can. And you can build a system around that. And maybe the system is, hey, I still have to do it, but I'm going to build such an airtight system that when the next person comes in, it's going to be super easy to slot somebody in, or I can even have my little brother do it, or the system's so good, like anybody could do it.
Got it. So you're saying that from the outside, Gary, your opinion would be, for me, it's systemizing, and it's a question of which area needs to be systemized first. But overall, my biggest struggle and what's causing all of this is most likely because I don't have the systems. More importantly, I don't want to build the systems, and that's what's causing me to feel this way.
Of course, yeah, you're procrastinating on building. You literally just told on yourself. You just told on yourself. You're like, if I had this, it would fix everything. There it is.
No, absolutely. No, this is why I do this show. And we haven't done an episode. No, truly. And we haven't done an episode like this in a while where I've kind of just gotten open and vulnerable because, I'll be honest, the business is growing. It's actually a really good month. Things are actually moving and we're getting bigger.
And you're stressed out.
And it's not even stressed. I'm just like out of it. Like, just like not like, and I can't seem to get back into that zone. And I'm just trying to figure out why that is. Like, and I was questioning, like, and even like I said, like things were working, things were going, things were happening, but I couldn't figure out what's that next move. And even worse, I was like, okay, if my business doubled next month, would I even care? Would I still want to show up to work? And that was a much harder question to come to terms with, right? Like, and I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question, which just scares me even more, which is a problem.
I think a better question, Derrik, is like, do you on your calendar? So look at your calendar this week. I went on a walk with my wife this morning. And I said, I love my life. She was like, why? And I was like, I started going through all my meetings and I was like, I get to do this and I get to do this and I get to do this and I get to do this. Like, that's my calendar. And I love it. And I love my calendar stacked with that kind of stuff. Is there occasionally meetings in there that I don't want to do and I don't like doing and I don't? Absolutely. But it's less and less and less. Over time, as I gotten better at documenting this, it's less and less and less and less. So for you, Derrik, it's like, on your calendar, what are you excited about and what are you not excited about? And then, go ahead, you can answer that.
No, I mean, my answer right now in the state I'm in, because again, like I said in the beginning of the call or the beginning of the recording is, recently it's been, I'm not excited for any of it, which has never happened to me before. No, like truly.
Are you excited about doing podcasts?
Well, no, yeah, I love the show. But again, I'd be lying if I didn't admit that sometimes like I would be like, oh, I have to film today. Like it's been like that for like the last 60 days.
So what do you want to do? So let's say I delete my calendar. What would you want to do?
I have no idea. That's the problem. No, this is the problem.
So this is like a self-awareness thing, right? Like it really is. That's what it boils down to. Because I didn't understand at first. Because I thought, man, I'm just going to literally build my company so I only have to do sales. And I'm going to crush sales. And I'm going to grow this business. And that's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to love it. And then guess what? I was like, I don't want to ever do another sales call again. And then I was like, well, I'll just be an account manager or I'll just manage people. I literally told myself one time, Derrik, if I could just manage people, the leaders, and that's all I did, that'd be amazing. And then I'm like, oh, I hate this. Yeah. Then I got to the place where I was like, I want no meetings. I want very few meetings and just emails. I just want to respond to emails all day. And I got there. And then I was like, I don't like that anymore. This is not what I wanted. And I realized for me, Derrik, I have to be working on things that I get to grow and make better, that I can have direct impact on improving and growing. And if I don't have that, then I get miserable. If it's recurring and there's no movement or growth in it, I hate it. I don't want to do it anymore. So I have to find people that can help me with those things. That's me. I don't know for you what is for you, but you have to figure that out. Otherwise, you're going to build a company that you hate being in.
Yeah. No, this is definitely a very pivotal question. And honestly, I never like to do this, but truthfully, it could just be the timing. Like, it really could be. Like, it could be like, and I hate it. I hate saying it, but like end of the year, going into the new year, and I could wake up January 1st, January 2nd, and just hit the ground running and be fired up. It's very possible. I don't know. I think at this point I'm open to anything. And I think I just have to be open and accountable and vulnerable. But
you'll know if it's a system, if you'll know when you go in and start building a system, if you build the light at the end of the tunnel, meaning, hey, I'm going to build this and I'm going to take 2 months and I'm just going to grind on this, because you could grind anything for 2 months, right? So it's just like, hey, I'm going to grind this out for 2 months. And if you are like, I still don't want to do it, I don't even want to touch it, there's something else there. The other thing is unplugging, like getting off of social media. So this has given me massive clarity, Derrik. On my cell phone, I deleted Gmail and all my social apps.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I only have Slack and text is the only way to get a hold of me on my cell phone or call.
Wow.
And that gave me so much mental clarity. And here's why, Derrik. I you know how you used to go to the refrigerator and you open the refrigerator, look in the refrigerator, there's nothing in the refrigerator, you want to close it, you walk back to it 5 minutes later and you do it again?
I do that all day.
Yeah. Okay. So that doesn't really hurt your brain, because once you get there, it's like there's nothing there and then you go away, right? Social media and email, there's always something there. So then you get sucked into it. And then you get on this, like, it sucks energy out of your brain is what it does. So I just deleted them. I'm just like, cool. If I want to check my Facebook, I'll do it on my desktop. If I want to check my LinkedIn, I'll do it on my desktop. TikTok, desktop. Now it's super clunky on there, and I don't spend a lot of time on it anymore because it's sucking from me. Now email is the same way, because I would just always I'm walking, check my email. Working out, check my email. Let me check my email. And I train myself every 2 or 3 minutes, check my email. So I just deleted it. And now at the end of my day, I go to my desktop, check my email, respond to everybody. So that's helped me out big time.
No, I'll be honest. I can't say I'm going to do that, but I might try it. No, like for real. I don't want to lie.
Unplug for 2 days. Do it for 2 days.
I might have to. The problem is whenever I try to do that, I get so guilty that I'm not working. But what I will do is this. I will promise to everybody watching and listening that I will bring an update on this, because this is important. Because this is literally why I do this show. It's to document a successful and a non-successful, but this is the journey. This is the process. And you've said that you've gone through this a couple times. I've never. This is like my first time on this scale where it's like, okay, I can't just stop. I have like 8 team members that literally rely on me, many of which are now full-time, where if I stopped, they can't feed their families. That's just different. Like, that's not just like Derrik working with local businesses I can stop whenever I want type of deal. I make one wrong decision, it's not like it's like their livelihoods are gone. They have to go find new jobs. That's just a completely different level. Honestly, that's kind of motivating me a little bit more right now, but whatever. That's besides the point. The last thing here, Gary, that's really a problem, and I think it's kind of a trickle-down effect about everything we've talked about the last 20 minutes, is the team. Leading the team properly. I think that might be a big pain point for me right now as well, in terms of when I show up to a team meeting on Monday, it's like I'm talking for 30 minutes, nobody says a word, and then we just leave. It feels horrible. It feels unproductive. It feels stupid. And I feel like it's a waste of everybody's time. That's the thing. It changes. That's exactly what I want to bring up. It changes, and I don't know. I don't have a structure for these meetings, and even worse, I'm not leading the team properly because of it. I'm struggling to feel. I feel misaligned, even if they feel aligned. I feel misaligned, and one-of-ones. I procrastinate them. I never want to have them. I used to have them bi-weekly, and I stopped doing them because I started to hate them. I didn't feel they were productive, and even if they were, I just started to hate them. What's your thoughts, advice? How do I run better team meetings? How do I get them aligned on vision? And what's the thoughts around this?
I would run I would just go to like EOS or something like that and just go.
I thought you would say that.
I would just steal their framework. It works great. It's going to help you get a lot of alignment really, really quickly. One-on-ones is just make it about what their KPIs are and how they're feeling. Like, how are you doing as a human being? How are your kids? Like, I don't think of one-on-ones like the way most people do, Derrik. I think of it as like I get the opportunity to ask how this human being's doing and how their family are, and did their dad get better, and what are they doing for Christmas and the New Year's? Like, that's what I use my one-on-ones a lot of that time for, is building relationships, because we're virtual. And so then from there, it's like, okay, now let's talk about the hard stuff. And that's how I use one-on-ones.
You know, I just want to be honest. I want your opinion on it as well, right? I used to do that, and I got a little bit burnt out from doing that because I just had no energy after doing that. I don't know why. I couldn't explain it, but truthfully, maybe again, it's just because I'm really burnt out right now, but the thought of doing that sounds really dreadful to me. Maybe I don't know. Does that make me like a bad person? I don't know.
No. You're probably an introvert, like a super hard introvert. Is that true?
It's possible. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
So an extrovert goes out and gets energy from interacting with other people, while an introvert goes out and they can interact with, maybe can or can't interact with people, but it uses their energy. So for me, it uses my energy. Like when I go to we have a Christmas party and I go to it, like after 2 hours, I'm like, I'm done. I don't care what's going. Yeah. Okay. So you're an introvert, right? So so then from there, Derrik, you have to like figure out, okay, well, how can I do this? Cause that's needed, bro. You can't run a company and not connect with people. How do I recharge my batteries properly? That's the other thing too, Derrik. Like you're probably working 7 days a week.
Like 6. Honestly, I try to take every Sunday at least.
Do you unplug on Sunday?
Not really. I still do a little bit of stuff on my phone, but I never really.
Yeah, so you're working 7 days a week. So you're emotionally 7 days a week you're working.
Definitely, yeah.
That's not a recipe for long-term success, like more than likely, right? Like you have to unplug. Even if you were like working in the NFL, or if you like for me, I wanted to be in the NBA. I can't train 7 days a week, every day, 12 hours a day, and expect to get better. It doesn't work that way. You have to rest. Like you have to turn off your brain. So for the kind of work you do, Derrik, you literally have to put your phone in a drawer and you have to leave it there and put it like on what day do you take off? Sunday?
Typically Sunday. Yeah, I try.
Saturday night at 8:00 or 5:00, put your phone in a drawer and put it away, and don't look at it again until like 2 or 3 the next day.
I have to do this. I know I have to do this. That's actually huge. I know I have to do this.
And get it, no computer. Like you can't use it. Just walk away and go walk on the beach, or go ride a bike, or go lay down and do something else. Like doesn't even matter. Do a puzzle. But don't be on your phone looking at social. You can't touch social media because social media is actually work for you. Yeah. And your brain can't help but to go there. And you can't look at emails, and you can't look at text and Slack. Like you got to get away from that. Have to unplug.
No, this was definitely a very helpful episode, and I think it hit home for a lot of people, especially this time of the year. Again, I hate doing that. I hate it. I hate saying it's the time of the. It's one of the things. It's my biggest pet peeve when people come to me and they're like, "Oh, I hate that. I never want to use this as an excuse." With that being said, to make sure I heard you properly, you have nothing else to tell me besides EOS. Just go look up EOS, run the team meeting EOS. If I Google EOS team meeting, and in fact, check this out.
You got the book.
It's literally right here. It's right here next to me on my bed. I read 40 pages. I stopped reading it. It was so boring. But
it's so hard to read.
I'm gonna have to Google it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to Google it.
Just Google it. You can get the information on there. It's fine.
And
to read the book.
The one-on-ones. You're saying the one-on-ones. All you got to do, make it about their KPIs. So it sounds like I really need to get that in place, and also focus mainly on them. How are they doing? What? Just like that's the meeting, and then just a little bit about the KPIs and the hard stuff.
At first, yeah. So at first, it's like try to have 1 or 2 things that you need to get alignment on. And then, but first, before you get into that, just connect with them as a human being. That's what I
have to do that better.
I'm sure. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's all. I'm just like, hey, how's the life? Because here's the thing, Derrik. If their life stinks, if they're like, you know what, to be honest with you, I just got kicked out of my apartment. My girlfriend doesn't like me anymore. My dog ran away. Like, good luck trying to get them to do good work. You need to help them through that. Like, man, that stinks. What can I do for you? How can we make this better for you? Like, and if they're like, no, my life's great. It's like, cool. That's awesome. Now let's get to work. Okay. So then you start looking at how do we improve this? This is the one area I want you to focus on for the next week. And then do you document it anywhere?
Like the meetings?
Yeah.
I should. I have it in a Notion. I just make a new note every time. That's another big problem. I don't have it clearly documented.
No. That's fine. Just document. It can be simple, but you need something that you can look back on to say, hey, we did this or we didn't do this. So you need notes, what we're going to talk about, and notes, what action items did we take away. Here's what I'm doing for you, and here's what you're doing for me. That's it. Keep it simple. And if you have KPIs, then that's great. Now, if you don't have KPIs, that's a system, working on a system, and that's something you just have to keep working on and keep improving. We're constantly working on that. We've never stopped working on this. This is something that we're constantly working on.
This episode was tremendously valuable, and I truly thank you for your valuable insight as always. This show never fails to leave me speechless, and this was a very good episode for me because it helped me get a lot off my chest, and this is exactly why I do this show. And I think this vulnerability and accountability will help a lot of people because I think some people listening to this might be going through something very similar or have in the past and could relate to this a lot and really learn a lot from what you just shared with me. And again, my promise is that I'm going to come back to this episode, and I want you guys listening, watching to keep me accountable to this, and we'll share an update. Because look, there's only 2 lanes. Either I fix it and I shut up and just do it, or I stop the business. Those are my only 2 options. I have no other option. So
you do it and change it. Your emotions change about it because you realize something about yourself.
Which is probably going to happen. I mean, it's just been a crazy time. But
there's a lot of it's not like you're just magically not feeling good right now, right? Like there's something going on that's really bothering you that you're avoiding or something. There's something there. I don't know what it is. You don't even know what it is, but you will start to now going through this process that you're going to go through. You will start to realize it, and it'll help you big time.
Yeah. No, that's huge. Gary, thank you so much. This is a super valuable episode. If you guys are still watching and listening, go check us out. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. We're literally everywhere. Follow Gary on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Follow Gary on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. Follow Gary on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube. So many call to actions.
I have a vlog, bro.
It was actually really good. I watched it.
You liked it? Okay.
I did. It was good. I did like it. It was actually really interesting to see the behind the scenes, especially like the people that I do work with in your company sometimes, like in person like that. That was really cool. That was actually really cool. They're actually real people. They're not just pixels on a screen. It was pretty cool. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and listening.